What up, YouTube? You already know Big Lou tapping back in with what to do with Big Lou. NMZR2, baby, baby. First time you come to the channel, be highly appreciated if you sub, like, to share the channel with your family, friends, folks, peoples, gente, buddies, pals, amigos, panas. Feel free and be sure to leave a comment. I do my darndest to respond back to all the comments. And yeah, so anyways, it's gonna be a quick video, not very long, but I plan on hopefully hitting a live later on today. Um, as you can see, I'm sporting that new one. Took fresh out the package today. It's the Fanatics brand, so uh, the site that I buy a lot of my not so much shirts, but I bought a big box of shirts, 8 shirts, different sizes for my family when the season starts. We're gonna be sure to hit some games this year because um, we're gonna lose these guys, and I'm pretty sure we are. So I want to make sure we can catch some memories at the Coliseum in Oakland before they're gone. So, um, so for myself, the wifey, my oldest daughter, and her old man, um, my boys, right? 3 boys, 2 girls. So that's 8 people, 9 people, excuse me. And then my grandbaby. So I still got to get the grandbaby. So I got a whole box of 8 shirts. So that way everybody has one to wear. Um, and I'm sure they're going to try to borrow some hats, right, to wear. So we'll see what's up. But anyways, I went ahead and bought this hat. Usually most all my hats are either New Era, um, Pro Fit, but I have some snapbacks. And then I believe besides that, I usually will only wear Mitchell and Ness. But like I said, this is a Fanatics brand. See the F right there? That stands for Fanatic, which is the website. I have 2 A's hats. The other one has a white front, and I'll wear that at some point. But anyways, back to the video. This video is on the UFC. President Dana White and heavyweight champ, UFC heavyweight champ Francis Ngannou, who no longer is champ. Right, belt was stripped from him, and now we're gonna have a fight for a vacant belt between John Jones and Cyril Gane. I don't know how to say his last name. Cyril Gane, whatever. Um, Francis beat him the last time Francis fought. Francis beat him. Um, so yeah, it's kind of well, so UFC released him, right? Dana White said that they decided to release him. They couldn't come to a middle ground or any type of agreement on a new contract or a new deal, right? I believe he still was under contract at the time of the termination of contract by Dana White in the UFC. Um, and Dana White made the comment that they were offering Francis the biggest contract in UFC history for a heavyweight, and they even said the name Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? That still doesn't really mean, at the end of the day, it still doesn't really mean that meant anything. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, it probably had a good dollar amount on it, right? Obviously, because Brock Lesnar was there. Uh, it's been some years since Brock Lesnar was there. It's been some years since uh, uh, Cain Velasquez was there, right? And they were on top, right? Um, but even Brock Lesnar, he lost some fights, right? Frank Mir beat him, I believe, right? If I remember correctly. And then he also was beat by Cain Velasquez, and I'm pretty sure he had another loss or two besides that. Francis, to my knowledge, only has the one loss to to I don't know if it was Stipe or if it was, I forgot how to pronounce that guy's name, Mirorik or something like that. Anyways, so Dana White made that comment, and I understand and I get it with Dana White. You are the president of the UFC. Your brand is the UFC. So if you have a fighter under contract with the UFC, you don't want them doing anything else for any other promotions. So for example, let's bring this up. Hulk Hogan, right? If you guys that are old enough know, Hulk Hogan was in the movie Rocky. Rocky 3, right? I believe it was Rocky 3 as Thunder Lips, right? Okay, when he did Vince McMahon Sr., not the Vince McMahon that runs WWE now, but his pops used to run WWWF. It was three W's and an F. And they were up under the NWA banner at a lot of different times, I believe. I believe it was one stretch. And then when Junior came along, or a little bit before Junior came along, they got out of the NWA banner from being up under them. Um, but I want to say that even under Senior, he was under the NWA banner, and I think he left for some time and then came back. I could be wrong on that because that's way before my time. Anybody knows, feel free to correct me. Anyways, Vince McMahon Sr., I believe that it was discussed before Hogan even made the participated in the filming of Rocky 3, um, and he was told no, not to do it. Or what ended up happening was he was involved in the movie, right? He shot his part, and then Vince McMahon Sr. caught wind of it and got rid of him, fired him. Again, if you're under WWF, WWF, WWWF, or WWF, or now WWE, they don't want people up under their promotion, especially if you're under contract, going and recording and doing anything or fighting, wrestling for any other promotion. So, everybody knows that Francis Ngannou got in the ring with Tyson Fury after he beat I think that was after the Dillian White fight, I believe. Um, and he was standing next to him, and they were talking about doing a so-called super fight, right? The UFC heavyweight champion against the lineal WBC heavyweight champion of boxing, which in my view, there's no contest there, but you're still going to get a lot of people will buy it. A lot of people are interested in seeing it, and therefore, and not to mention Francis as being up under the UFC banner, as being an employee of the UFC, working for who? Dana White. He's going to make a ton of money, regardless. If you feel that Francis even gives Tyson Fury there's any time of day that he can win, you know, or if you believe that or not, it doesn't matter. If you believe that he belongs in that ring with Tyson Fury or not, he's going to make a ton of money, just like Logan Paul did with Floyd Mayweather, and so on and so forth, right? So Dana won't be making any of that money for his company in his pocket. And like I said, Francis Ngannou was his employee. He worked for him. So I understand that. I get that totally, why he would not want to put that in the contract, that stipulation in the contract of Francis on his behalf that, hey, I want to box too, right? Plus, I think Francis put in there that he wanted health care and he wanted some other things as far as promotions. And I don't think nobody's not promotion, excuse me, a sponsorship and all that. I don't think that's allowed in UFC. So obviously, if Dana gave his heavyweight champion that, his light heavyweight champion is going to want some of that. His middleweight champion is going to want some of that. His welterweight champion is going to want some of that. His lightweight champion, his featherweight, whatever other weight classes they have, uh, they're all going to want some of that, right? That sponsorship money, that healthcare money, and all that, and therefore it's going to come out of the UFC's pocket, right? As far as not so much the sponsorship, but the healthcare they'll have to pay, right? They'll have to help pay into it, or however that works. And then the sponsorship, instead of it just being UFC and Venom or whatever that company they are in cahoots with. Um, Obviously, if these guys start using their own sponsorship, they're going to make a lot of money away from the UFC, and Dana White and the UFC will not. None of that will be coming their way, right? They'll get no kick from any of that. So of course he's not going to want no part of that for any of his fighters. So he can't give it to one fighter and not give it to the rest. And those were only the champions I named. What about all the contenders and all the fighters? Period. That's on his roster that he pays that work for him. So, you know, but me personally, and I'll probably do a video on it later on, as far as when it comes to boxing and pro wrestlers and the UFC. They don't have a union. They don't have no type of health care or anything like that. So it's up to these athletes to use their money wisely for when they get older, that they have something to fall back on. because we see that a lot of boxers and pro wrestlers, they're dying from health issues, and a lot of them, especially the wrestlers, they didn't make a lot of money. Period. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I have a little. I don't I don't hate on people making money, but it kind of just sucks for them old school boxers that fought their asses off, that were 2, 3 division world champions, with multiple titles, and defended their belts, a couple of times each for each belt they've held, and like I said, went up in different weight classes, considered to be one of the greats, and all their title fights didn't even add up to what some of these guys are making in one fight. They're guys that ain't even boxers, such as the YouTubers and people like that just, like Conor McGregor making a couple $100 million to fight Mayweather and never boxed before. It kind of, like I said, I'm not a hater on nobody's money, but it just sucks for those that you know, so-called forefathers. I would say, because they're generations ahead. That's the only reason I say so-called forefathers, because they're not originators, but they did help pave the way at some point in their career as well, right? But so yeah, so that's back to the video, the topic of the video. So I understand Dana White's perspective on this, right? Okay, now on Francis's perspective, you know, uh, I get what he's saying too. And to be clear, I heard uh, Khabib. Khabib is in the same, even though he was an ex-fighter, Khabib's in the same position that Dana White's in, right? Because he owns Eagle. Uh, what is it called? Uh, he owns Eagle. I think it's called FC, right, or something like that. Eagle Champion. I don't know what the name it is exactly, but I know Eagle something. So he's the owner of that, right? Majority owner or the straight out owner. So he does the same thing. It's just a little less level. The level of fighters is less than UFC because these guys are more fresh in the game, or they're old school fighters that no longer can compete on the UFC level. So they're fighting on a lower level. So it's kind of like minor leagues, I guess you could say. So I understand he's going to have the same business perspective as Dana White. But as far as Francis goes, you know, um, it was said that he wants to fight lesser competition for more money. If you can get away with that, okay. You know what I mean? But I don't believe that to be true. Big John, I don't know Big John's last name, but he used to be the referee. He said that's not true. Because he did fight Cyril. I don't know what that dude's last name is, Gain or something like that. He beat him, right? He beat him, I think, unanimous decision. He might have knocked him out. I don't remember. I think he just beat him unanimous decision. But then he's beat Stipe, right? He's beat Cain Velasquez. He's beat all the main dudes. Everybody they put in front of him, he's beat. And so now you do this vacant bout for the vacant title of heavyweight at the UFC, of a guy, John Jones, who's considered to be the GOAT, right? Was a light heavyweight. This is his first heavyweight fight, and he's automatically getting thrown in the championship fight, the heavyweight bout. The guy he's going to fight is the guy that he just beat the last time he was out there. So to say he wants to fight lesser competition for more money uh, is not true in this case. And if that was the case, and that's really what he wanted to do, if he can get away with it, hey, fuck it. It just comes in at some point, though. It comes in to say that you're the best at that weight would be questionable. But that's not even the question here. So I think that Dana just said that to try to make it sound good. You know what I'm saying? From his point of view, instead of just saying the real deal Holyfield, that he's missing out on a lot of money if he allows this guy to box, and do it in these couple of stipulations that he wanted on his contract. You know what I'm saying? So I get Dana's point of view, and I understand why he said what he said. But of course, people's going to call bullshit on it. The ones that are sports writers and the ones that like to just come out and call bullshit on things. So I get that too. You know what I'm saying? But uh, he I think that I don't know what these guys get paid. I think they get paid a good amount of money. Some might believe that, and I don't know what the amount is, but I'm just saying from what I see, the lifestyles of some of these dudes. Obviously Conor McGregor's in a league of his own as far as what he's done for this sport of UFC and what he's done for himself business wise. But you see how Kamaru Usman is. You see how uh, uh, man, I forgot his name. Israel Adesanya. You see how these dudes are, man. How they dress nice, they have nice cars, you know. So I would just think that they get paid decent amount of money. But you know, is it close to what boxing champions get paid? I don't think so. I think it's a big difference in numbers. You know, you're talking about somebody like Canelo makes like 15 million at least a fight. You know, just the purse, not not counting the pay per views. You know, anything like that they have in the contract. But what's the name? Crawford just made 10 million to fight a contender, not even another world champion. So I know they're not making money like that. You know, they might be making when it comes to a champion like Israel Adesanya, and when he was champion, and Usman, they're probably making like 2 million a fight, probably, which I think that's a lot. But you know, um, does it compare to the elite boxers? No, I know for sure that it doesn't like that. You know what I mean? Um, But so yeah, so at some point here, man, it'd be nice to see if these guys could get health care and things like that, and just like the college players too, like they're not entitled to any type of sponsorship and anything like that. If they get caught doing anything like that, they get terminated as far as suspended from games and in the program at that college and things like that. Um, that might have even changed too in the last couple of years. I'm not really sure on that, but at one point, no, it was a no. You know what I mean? So just to be clear right here, I understand both points of view, both perceptions on what they believe they have coming, even though Dana White is more short on words, because I think the more he speaks out about it, it'll be more controversial for himself. So he keeps it to a minimum, right? A very minimum, and a lot of times it's subliminals and stuff like that. But a fighter will speak out more about things. You know what I mean? Um, and so yeah, so that's why I fit with that. People's. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out for now. Just a short little video, and I'm hoping to do a live a little bit later, if not tomorrow. And I want to thank everybody for subbing and sharing the channel and just being viewers and subscribers. And like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Today is payday, so like I always say, everybody be responsible. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you have your ducks in line. Uh, don't put them all in one basket. You know, make sure you have that designated driver lined up, or a Uber account. You know, or Lyft account. Um, and if you have to walk, but do not get behind the wheel. You know, under the influence, inebriated, or anything like that. People, it's not worth it. And always know your awareness. Be aware and be responsible. That being said, Big Lou tapping out.